Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Kelly Rock and I am going to be your professor for HSCI 101 Medical Terminology for the Spring 2017 semester. Welcome. We are in for a really busy semester, but I assure you it is not difficult. So what I'm going to do for the next, probably 30 to 40 minutes is actually to provide you with step-by-step instructions to introduce you to the course. Now, you probably know that this particular course is offered completely and totally online, meaning that you do not have to come to class. There's no face-to-face component for this coursework, which means that you can basically fit it into your schedule during days and times that work best for you. For some, that's a wonderful advantage, but for others who maybe struggle a little bit with time management and time efficiency, this can be a problem. So let's start at the very beginning. You are going to access your course in Blackboard. So let's start there. And then you're going to find the name of this course. Now, as your instructor, this is what my screen says. Yours might say something just a little bit different, but it's the medical terminology for spring 2017. Okay, so if we take a look at the upper left-hand side of the screen, you're going to see that this is your Blackboard course shell. The first item listed is the orientation guide. Now, this is a part of the Blackboard course that is included with each and every single Frostburg course that's offered online. This is not specific to this particular course. It basically just gives you some fairly generic information that most folks don't find too incredibly important, although I will call your attention to this statement here, which basically says that for a 3-credit 15-week course, students can expect to spend approximately 9 hours per week or 1.8 hours per weekday. And I have found that students that successfully have passed this course in past semesters do indeed invest approximately that many hours per week. But otherwise, this again is just a very generic tab that you may or may not find helpful. The announcements tab, I hope you will find extremely helpful. I have the course set to send out weekly announcements that basically serve as reminders. This very first announcement will be available the first on day 1 or as soon as I open the course. And basically it's just a quick reminder that you need to have all of your course requirements for day 1 of the semester. You're going to be using the same course ID number that's written in red, but when you make your purchase through the FSU bookstore, you will also get something called an access code. It will be in the package that you purchase, and you'll need to keep it in a safe place because you will need that code each and every time you log in. As a reminder, again, you should plan on spending approximately 9 hours per week in this course, whether that's reading, studying, completing the graded components, or completing other activities that we'll talk about in just a minute. It's also really important that you complete all graded course requirements by the due date, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we actually look at the syllabus. There's also a reminder here that learning to speak medical terminology is really like learning to speak a completely new language, and it really takes a lot of time, practice, and repetition. So for those of you who are involved in sports, or for those of you in chorus or who play an instrument, this will be very familiar to you, this repetition, repetition, repetition. That is what this section of medical terminology is all about, this adaptive learning, which again, we're going to be talking about in much more detail as we move through this tutorial. All right, So again, you will get a weekly course announcement just basically as a brief reminder and trying to keep you on track. The next tab that's listed is instructor information. That's basically my contact information and a very short biography about me. My office is located in Lowndes Hall, office 205-2, letter B as in boy, and my office hours are listed there as well. Just because the course is offered online does not mean that I'm not on campus. I'm here Tuesdays through Fridays. The next tab under instructor info is the syllabus tab. This is probably the most important part of the tutorial, so I'm going to go over this with you in great detail. So a course syllabus is comparative to a contract between me and you. You will always, always, always refer to your syllabus for questions and clarification. If any changes need to be made to the syllabus, I will be making them in writing via the announcement tab in the Blackboard course. So if you click on this attached file, you'll be able to see the course syllabus. We're going to actually scroll through this beginning part. As a reminder, under the required course materials, you'll see the same information that was written in the first course announcement, and a reminder about the course ID, which is going to be the same for the entire semester. And again, you will need your specific access code that you will purchase. There are the common and required statements for all FSU syllabi, including the disabilities statement, reporting of child abuse, this communications, internet, and email access statement. Basically, what this is saying is all communication will take place in writing because this is an online course. And all email correspondence needs to follow these guidelines. So only ever use your Frostburg State email address to send and receive information related to this course. Please use an appropriate subject heading in your email. Include a salutation, your full name, and a closing please. You will see the academic dishonesty code of conduct statement. That's the same for all courses. And then there's a note here about this attendance and participation policy. So though this course is offered completely online, you need to be active in the course and you need to be checking your student email regularly, a minimum of 3 times per week, but it's recommended that you log in Monday through Friday just to stay current. If you scroll down through your syllabus, you will then see the grading scale, and this is what I follow to the T. I do not give points in this class. Students earn points in this class, so please don't ask me to give you points or bump you up a grade. I need to follow the same set of standards for every single student. That's the only way to make it fair. Very rarely do I ever give an incomplete or a no credit. In fact, that hasn't happened at all since I started teaching medical terminology. Okay, so let me call your attention to this next part of the syllabus called assignments. So there are 3 graded items in this course, 3 items only. The quizzes, the exams, and a different course component called adaptive learning. Again, I will talk more about that in great detail in the future. All of these items can only be completed online via Blackboard and via Elsevier Evolve. That's the company that actually developed this course. And again, your access code and course code is required to access all graded items. I have very specific instructions for the graded quizzes. This says that quizzes can be taken an unlimited number of times prior to the due date. You may use your book and other course material. Your grade will be the score of your last attempt. If you log into a quiz, accidentally even without answering any questions, this will show up as a 0 in the grade book. Do not log back into a quiz after you are satisfied with your last attempt score. I cannot see anything other than the last time that you went into a quiz. That will show up as a 0. So that's really important that you don't accidentally go back into there when you're done. Quizzes are not timed. Each quiz will disappear from your view after the due date. You must complete the quizzes by the due date for credit, and each quiz is worth 3 points. The exam instructions are a bit different. This says that students can take each chapter exam a maximum of 2 times. Each attempt is timed. You have a total of 2 hours to complete each exam attempt. Your grade will reflect your highest earned score. You must answer each question as it appears on the screen. You cannot backtrack. You must complete each exam by the due date for credit. After the due date, exams will disappear from the student view, and each of the exams is worth 45 points. You certainly may again use your book and other course materials when you take your exams. Please note that it is the responsibility of the student to review any graded item within 1 week of the due date. After that time, the grade will not be changed for any reason. If something is particularly important, I will typically put it in red writing. So this statement says all graded requirements, quizzes, exams, and the adaptive learning component of this course must be completed by the assigned due date for students to receive credit. If you are unable to complete an assignment by the due date, you need to contact me to discuss your individual circumstances prior to the assignment due date. For students who experience an extraordinary circumstance, you need to contact me as soon as possible to discuss a remediation plan. I can't tell you how many times students have emailed me after the due date and said, I forgot, I was busy with another class, so on and so forth. That does not qualify as an extraordinary circumstance. So please, please, please make sure you complete all course requirements by the due dates. So I've made this fairly consistent throughout the semester. This next section is going to take you week by week and show you what is due, how many points it's worth, and it will also keep a running tally of points throughout the entire semester so you always know where you stand as far as your grade. You will notice that every week, assignments are due every Sunday at 11:59 p.m. with the exception of spring break week. So please get used to making sure that you have those assignments done by that due date. Can I complete assignments before the due date? Yes, certainly. And in fact, on day 1, every single quiz and every single exam are available to you. So you absolutely can complete assignments ahead of time, but you cannot complete assignments after the due date. Once I set the due date in this online course, it cannot be changed. All right, so the first column is the modules and corresponding dates of the class. The second column indicates the topic that will be taught. The third column is the readings and the assignments. Fourth column is due dates for graded assignments. Fifth column is the point values for each graded assignment. And then the last column is the running tally of points so that, again, you always know where you stand. Due dates are written in red for each module. And then you can see, again, very consistently that quizzes are worth 3 points apiece and exams are worth 45 points apiece. Now, the number of quizzes per chapter does vary from module to module. You can see here in Module 1 there are 2 quizzes, whereas Module 2 has 3 quizzes. So it's important that you make sure that you take the correct quizzes and exams that are due that week. Okay, and I'll just scroll down here. You'll see the consistency. Okay, don't get messed up during spring break week. There is an assignment that is due on the 19th, and the first day of spring break starts on the 18th, so make sure that you plan ahead. I have a reminder here in red. Nothing is due spring break week. I'm going to continue to scroll. Okay, all the way through week 15. So you will see that the graded quizzes and exams are worth a total of 807 points out of a possible 1,000 points. The adaptive learning, and I'm sorry the spacing is a little bit off here, the adaptive learning portion of the course that I keep talking about is worth 193 out of a possible 1,000 points. So it is possible, certainly, to pass the course without doing the adaptive learning, as long as you score very, very highly on your quizzes and all of your exams. But for students who want to ensure a minimum of a B, but certainly an A, you're really going to want to spend quite a bit of time in this adaptive learning that we'll talk about. I talk about that here on page 10. So it says that, again, this component is worth a total of 193 points for the semester. Students should estimate spending an average of 3.5 to 4 out of the 9 hours per week in this portion of the course. If students do not invest time in this portion of the course every week throughout the entire semester, it is unlikely that they will be able to achieve the levels required to successfully complete this portion of the course, and it probably is going to negatively affect your grade. This component is not graded until the end of the semester, and it is your responsibility to track your progress and make adjustments if necessary in the amount of time invested in this component. And then on pages 11 through 12, have the required mastery levels, which again, I will go over more in detail in a bit. So we'll scroll down to the very last page, and basically it says, if you need help, I am available to you via telephone, via email. I can meet with you in person. I could meet with you online, depending on where you're located. I am here to assist you in any way, shape, or form that I possibly can, and I will get back to you within 48 business hours, Mondays 8 a.m. through Fridays at 2 p.m. Once you have reviewed the syllabus and once you have viewed the tutorials and you feel like you understand what is required of you, you will then complete this syllabus acknowledgement affirmation form. So you will simply click on the attached file. You will open the Word document. And it looks like this. So by typing your name and dating this form, you are acknowledging that you have read, reviewed, and understand the syllabus. If you have a general course question, you agree to post it in the discussion board, which we will talk about in just a moment. This says that you know that you have to have your textbook and your access code beginning on day 1, and that you have to complete all graded components of the course by the due date for credit, and that you'll contact me with any extraordinary circumstances. You also acknowledge that you need to spend approximately 9 hours per week on this course. Furthermore, you acknowledge that I have told you that you need to spend about 3.5 to 4 hours per week in the adaptive learning course requirement, and if you don't do that, It will negatively affect your grade. You cannot cram this portion at the end of the semester. I can't speed up how fast or how slow you're able to review memory, so on and so forth. And there is also no partial credit available if you do not achieve the required mastery level. So you're going to type your name, you're going to date that, you're going to save it to your desktop. And then once you've done that, you're going to click on this line here, which is actually an assignment link. In order to submit this acknowledgement form, you're going to browse your computer and you are going to find the correct statement form. And then you're going to click on submit. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to submit this. But once you're done, you need to click submit so that I can see that you have done the assignment. There are no points associated with this, but it is required. So I'm going to click cancel. Okay. So that's that as far as the syllabus tab is concerned. I did mention the discussion board, and now is a good time to actually click on that. For those of you that are not familiar with discussion board, it's a way to communicate with the entire class. It's sort of like us all being in the same room and you raising your hand and asking a question and me giving an answer so that the entire class can hear. In an online course, it really works well because if you have a question, chances are many other people have the exact same question. There are no stupid questions. So all I need you to do is to choose the forum that you think corresponds with your question. Most of the time, it's just a general course question, and then a little bit less often are grading questions. So if you have a general course question, you're going to click on that forum. You're going to create a thread. You're going to write general course question. You're going to ask your question here, and then you're going to click submit. And then what I'm going to do as the instructor is I'm going to go into your question, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to click reply. I will reply to your question here. Now, this is not just for your eyes and my eyes. This will be available for every person in the entire course to see. Again, if you have a question, chances are other people do too. So everyone benefits when you ask a question and when I post an answer. One other thing that you could do, especially in these two forums, is if you click on, say, this forum and click on this subscribe button, what that does is it will actually generate an email to your FSU email box every time a question is answered and every time an answer is provided. That way you don't have to remember to go into the discussion board and look at everything, but you do have to subscribe to individual threads. So that may be something that could potentially be helpful to you. All right, so at this point, we're actually going to go into the actual online course. You're going to access the online course by clicking on this button here, the Evolve button. Now, yours will not automatically go to the online course like you're seeing with mine because my access code has already been put in. You will be prompted to add your course ID and your access code that you're going to purchase from the FSU bookstore, and then you're going to actually see this screen come up. So I'm going to go ahead and try to walk you through the online course to try to make it as easy to understand as possible. You are going to be mainly using this course content section down here, and you're going to click on course. You will see that there is a course orientation. Anything that you see in blue, you can see. If it's showing yellow on my screen, it means that I can see that. But again, from the student view, you will not have access to that. Okay, but this is the main part of the course. Every chapter, every module is set up exactly the same way. So your modules 1 through 15 are all located over on this left-hand side of your screen. Let's start with module 1. When you see this link here, it's almost like a paper clip. This basically is your textbook online. Okay, so you don't necessarily need to access this part of the course at all. This, again, is basically your textbook online. But if you prefer seeing it online, then this would be preferable to you rather than leafing through your textbook. So you would just click through one screen at a time, just like you would flip pages in your textbook. Okay, I'm going through this very quickly, but I just want to show you what a typical module looks like. When you access this particular tab, it will also give you opportunities to do activities. These are for your enjoyment and your enhancement only. None of this is graded. None of the stuff in that paper clipped area is graded. Okay, I know I just said that twice, but that's really important because sometimes students don't understand that. Again, another activity in module 1, not graded. It is for your enhancement and your learning. Okay, so on and so forth. So this will take you through the entire module 1 in your textbook. It's the exact same thing, except it has different activities that are for your enhancement but are not graded. All right, so again, that was this section right here. Now, I'm not going to click on this quite yet. I'm going to save that for just a moment. The next thing I want to call your attention to, in every module, you'll see something called gradable case studies. I can't change the word gradable. I wish I could, but I cannot. These gradable case studies, as they're called in your online course, they are not graded. So again, if I could change that, I would, but I can't. But please know that the case studies in each online module are there for your edification and are there to help you practice and learn. But they are not graded components for this course. They are not graded components of this course. The quizzes that you see listed here, Module 1, Section 1 quiz, Module 1, Section 2 quiz, and the exam, those are graded components. Again, these are graded components. So let me show you what Module 1, Section 1 quiz looks like, because all the quizzes look very similar. So you will begin your assessment. I think this is what it looks like as a student. And for the quizzes, you will see all of the questions on the same screen at the same time. The exams are much different. The exams will just show you one question at a time and will not allow you to backtrack and skip over questions, but quizzes are different. So this is what a typical quiz looks like. You can see they're very brief, and as a reminder, you can take them unlimited times before the due date. And the maximum score that you will receive is a 3. When you have answered your quiz, you will click submit, and then you'll see your score right away. And again, you can take quizzes unlimited numbers of times. All right, so going back, each module looks just like this. It has the online textbook, it has the adaptive learning, it has these what they call gradable case studies that are not graded, and then you'll see quizzes and exams that are graded. So again, let me click on Module 2. You'll see that it's exactly set up the same way. This is your online textbook. This is the adaptive learning, non-gradable case studies, quizzes, and exams. And you'll see for every module, it looks exactly the same. Okay. So we've gone through the online course. What I want to do is show you this adaptive learning that I've kept talking about. So you can think about Elsevier's adaptive learning like flashcards, like learning vocabulary or spelling words. This is an extremely repetitive and time-consuming portion of the course, but again, this is what's going to make the difference between a B or a C to an A. Okay, and this is all about time investment and focused attention. So when I say flashcards, I think this will make sense to you. For each chapter, there's a different number of sections. I want to show you what this looks like first, and then I'm actually going to make a separate tutorial that maybe I'll post in week 2 that really starts to go over the grading, because it's not going to make a lot of sense when you first look at this. But to get started, say I want to start at the beginning. So let's start at 1.1. This is what you're going to see when you actually start working on your adaptive learning, and it's like flashcards. So basically, it's going to give you an option regarding how many memories you want to learn at the same time. I had already started this module, so I want to pick up where I left off, and I want to learn 16. So that's what I'm going to click. Actually, because I had already gone into that particular module, that probably wasn't the best example to start with. Let me start by clicking on a module that I've never started before so that you can see what it's going to look like the very first time that you go into a section. Okay, so again, here are all of the sections of chapter 1 that need to be completed to a mastery level of 3 for you to get credit. So let me start here at 1.4 because I don't think I've started this module. There we go. This is better. This is exactly what your screen is going to look like. So there is an app that is available. Students oftentimes really like this because if you have an extra 10 or 15 minutes, you can actually bust through a good number of these flashcards or these memories in a very short period of time. So if you want to give that a shot, you can go ahead and click on this Go Mobile, and you can download the app and be able to access this on your smartphone. It's something that has been very valuable to a lot of students. But otherwise, if you're on a regular computer, you're going to choose how many memories you want to build at any one time. Now, you have to do all of them to get credit, so it doesn't matter how many you choose at any given time. You can choose 5, you can choose 10. You will have to get through all of them eventually. It's just how many do you want to learn right now. So say I don't have very much time, but I just want to pick 5 and I want to get started. This is exactly what this is going to look like. Okay, and you're going to read this either out loud or to yourself. Alzheimer's disease is an example of an eponym. Got it. I remember. Okay, Beckman thermometer is an example of an eponym. Got it. Cesarean section is an example of an eponym. Got it. Foley catheter is an example of an eponym. I got it. Holter monitor, same thing. All of these different names are named after the person who coined them, and that is an eponym. Got it. Okay, so after it goes through a definition with you, then it's going to start asking if you know this. And if you know the answer to this question, you're going to click Know It. and then you're going to get prompted. You're going to hear that noise if you get it correct. Okay, I know it. It's none of the above because eponym is not listed. Got it right. Okay, I know this too. Great. Now, what if I click on I don't know it? What happens? Let's see. It reminds me, and then I got it. Okay, so I've just learned 5 words, 5 memories that I've started to learn. Again, it doesn't matter how many you choose at any given time. Every time those words come up and every time you answer those questions or those flashcards correctly, you're going to see these little memory dots start to move to the right-hand side. You're going to see them in the building in level 1, level 2, level 3. And each chapter requires you to reach a different level. Again, I'm going to go over the grading in a lot more detail in the next week or so, but that's how that works. It's really that easy and it's very repetitive. This adaptive learning system is actually built on the principles of neuroscience and how long-term memories are built and are formed. So really, it's this part of the course that's going to make the most impact if you invest the time. You're going to be surprised that you're going to be able to remember memories months and months and months after this course is over. And really, that's what this is all about. It's not just passing a quiz or passing an exam. It really is learning this new language of medical terminology. Let me continue on and show you a little bit more. Okay, so MD is an example of an abbreviation. Got it. SOB, it's not what you think, it's shortness of breath, is an example of an abbreviation. Got it. CT is an example of an abbreviation. I understand. STAT is an example of an abbreviation. I understand. Got it. Pap smear is an example of an abbreviation. Got it. Do I know this? Do I know what an abbreviation is? Sure. That's the right answer. Next. I know this one also. Next. Got it. So for every single memory that is available in this adaptive learning component, you will see a dot. And it is your job to get all of those dots up to the required mastery level. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now, that seems really repetitive. It's not that way in every module. Let's look at module 4, or excuse me, module 2, and let's take a look at some of that. So if we go to, let's do 2.1. And every time, again, you open up a brand new module that you haven't started, you'll see this come up. So we'll start with 5 memories, and we'll get started learning. Okay, this section's a little bit different, and this is more or less what you will find with adaptive learning. With every screen, you can hear the pronunciation, or you can mute it if you want to, or excuse me, repeat it. So adeno is gland, got it. Adipo or lipo is fat, got it. Amnio, amnion, got it. Amylo is starch, got it. Angio is vessel. Got it. Now it's going to test 5 memories. Gland, do I know this? Do I know this? Let's try this one. All right. And starch, I know this one. Or do I? All right, so say I know it, but I actually get this really wrong. So let me choose an incorrect answer. So if you are choosing the wrong answers just to try to bust through this, you will not see your memories advance through the different mastery levels. So it does require you to pay attention, to not be distracted, and to concentrate on what you are doing. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish this out briefly. Okay, so again, that is just another example. And you are just going to progress and work your way through each chapter subsection throughout the 15 weeks. What I will tell you is that you cannot cram this portion of the course. This system is built to only allow you learn so many memories without shutting you down and making you wait a certain amount of time. So it's not that I don't have anything to do with that. I can't control how fast or how slow the system allows you to work through. What I will tell you is that you do need to access this every week, 3 or 4 days a week, if not more. And you need to be spending an average of 3.5 to 4 hours per week on this section, either via the app or here. You can't, I cannot speed up how fast you can learn the memories. I can't speed up the number of hours, the number of days that it makes you wait. So that's why I'm telling you and really trying to emphasize ahead of time that you need to be working on this most days of the week throughout the 15 weeks of the semester. Students oftentimes they put this off until the second month, the third month, and then they're panicking and they say, well, I don't have enough time, it's not letting me go. And I'm telling you it doesn't work that way. So please, please, please start week one, start day one, and progress every single week as I'm instructing you to do. That is the best way that you're going to be successful. And again, you will be surprised how many memories that you will be able to learn by the end of this semester. Okay, that being said, we're already 43 minutes into this tutorial, and I bet that you're pretty tired of hearing me talk. I know that I'm tired of hearing myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Blackboard course shell, and I'm going to make sure that there isn't anything else that I need to tell you in this tutorial before I close out. I think we've covered everything. Now, if I click on my grades, I won't be able to see anything because I'm not a student. If you click on that, you'll be able to see your grades in the Blackboard Grade Center. What I do every week is I will take your quiz and exam scores from the online Evolve course and I'll put them into the Blackboard Grade Center so that you can actually see where you stand in the Blackboard Grade Center. If you see that I've made a mistake, or if you have a personal question, personal nature, that you need to share with me, please do that via email between the two of us. Don't post anything that's personal or an error that I've made in the Blackboard Grade Center. Go ahead and email me that. Don't put that in the discussion board. Okay, the next tutorial will be dedicated completely to adaptive learning, and I'll talk a lot more about how that course component is graded. I hope that you find this tutorial helpful as you begin this course. Best of luck to each and every one of you. I look forward to having all of you succeed.